must take permission from his first wife. And this is happening as we speak. And this is all under the umbrella of Sharia law. So when you have a government complicit in allowing such laws to happen, where women are always the ones who suffer, then of course we have a big problem. But fortunately, in a country like Canada, we can create awareness, and before things become really bad, we can bring about change.
Dan, quickly.
Hi. Yeah. What is your view on the secular charter? I know there's an election on April 7th. Okay. What is your view on the secular charter in Quebec? And okay, that's it.
My view, or what I should be saying? My view is that it had to happen. The envelope was being pushed too far. It had to happen. Now, what the rest of Canada is doing is at least thinking about it. So it is something that in some form had to raise its head. It's come out in the form of a charter that a lot of people don't like, because it's put in such a way, and we all know the reason why it was done. I'll eliminate the people who don't belong in that group, were the Jews and the Sikhs. So we know where the problem is, and we have to do things ourselves as a community before it gets too late, and before Quebec uses it as a means to get out of the rest of Canada. We Muslims have to wake up and see what is happening in Canada and why are these things cropping up. It's our responsibility. But I don't think there are more than 5 people, including Professor Salim, whose books are being sold outside, who are talking about these issues. It's being sort of kept under hush.
Talk about putting the cat among the pigeons.
Yes.
So yes, it had to happen, and it has happened. And personally, I think in a way it's a good thing. It has to be brought out in the open. It has to be debated, discussed, maybe adopted in a different form, not in the present form that it is. But it has to go forward from where it was, where nobody wanted to talk about it.
Okay, very quickly.
I'm just wondering, so Status of Women Canada put out funding to address this issue of arm-based violence to several organizations. So I'm just wondering if you're involved with any of the organizations or projects that have been funded to address arm-based violence in Canada?
I know I'm not involved.
Okay. Are you aware of any of them? Or?
Yes, I have read about it.
Okay.
Yes, very quickly.
I appreciated the film. As you said, it was made for education, and I appreciate the education that you have given, and particularly the multicultural aspect of it. I'm a bit confused as to why Mr. Said said that it was an Islamic problem, when in the film, the woman whose sister committed suicide said that it was not an Islamic problem because Sikhs and other religious groups and other cultures also have this problem. So first, I'm confused about that, and I would like you to clarify that for me, why you are focusing on it as an Islamic problem.
Okay.
And second...
No, just one. No, thank you.
No, I'm sorry.
Sorry. No, one question. We were running short of time.
I consider it an Islamic problem because Islam is being used to perpetuate these crimes. Like Raheel just mentioned, in Pakistan, the law of minimum age has been removed for girls getting married. So why is it removed? It's removed because they use Sharia to give their argument, the Council of Islamic Ideology. So Islam is being used, but not to say that the majority of the problem is in Muslim countries and African countries, Middle Eastern countries, and South Asians. There is a fragment of Hindus and Sikhs, as we have seen, that are also affected by this. And it's their culture, their sense of honor that applies there. But the majority is Muslim areas. And they use Muslim Sharia and Muslim rules and laws to justify what they are doing.
Okay, Kim? Did you-
Hi. What I'm about to say is probably not politically correct. But I was just thinking, if we have a limitation on immigration from countries that are having a lot of problems in that issue, in the issue that we've been talking about, if we were to say all agree on certain things that we do not want in this country, and we ask all immigrants to answer these questions, and if they don't agree with the basic premises of our civilization and our culture, our predominant culture, should we not keep them out?
It's a very good idea to make immigrants coming into Canada aware of what Canada is all about, and also to help them understand that they're coming into a country where gender equality and respect for women is very important. However, we are talking about a problem that is already here and it exists. So we now have communities here that have imported some of those tribal cultures and those tribal customs into this country, and we have to deal with those that already exist.
Yes.
Talking about the future is a different thing, but we have young generation of people growing up here who have been brainwashed into this cultural relativism, and that is where the education has to begin. And I believe it has to start from schools, from the school boards at a very young age.
Yes, I totally agree. But to prevent
Okay,
further,
thank you. Let's have the last question.
For women who grow up with the notion that it's acceptable to impede on their rights, how do you re-educate them to convince them that they do have rights?
A lot of the women who believe that it's okay to be oppressed is because they haven't really understood that within the framework of the faith and then in secular society they have these rights. So it is a re-education that they need because they have been brainwashed into one system of thinking, and it's always possible to open doors for them to help them understand that there is an alternate. And unfortunately, in many countries where they're not given an alternate, they believe that that is the only choice that they have. You have to also remember that we're talking about countries that are third world countries where large numbers of the population are illiterate, and therefore they do not have access to the kind of freedom in education and liberation that we have here. So it becomes it's our responsibility to pass on the message to our sisters who are not aware of their rights. And that's part of the work that we have to do.
Thank you very much, Raheel and Syed. Please join us outside for a reception, and you can talk privately if you want. Thank you.